Matt, did you know animals are banned from mating publicly within 1,500 feet of a tavern, school, or place of worship in the state of California?
No.
Apparently they are, and you know what? This game is all about cops in LA, and it's by Modern Dream, and it's actually being published by Team 17. So, in the greatest tradition, actually I should mention first, this is actually currently in early access, and it releases on Friday the 13th, because, you know, it's a good omen to release it on that date. In our sort of tradition, we'll go and have a look at the options menu first of all, and this is it. At the moment, and again this is early access, so it might change, but it might not. We can turn music and sound on and off, subtitles on and off. We'll just turn them on for this. We can have it using a controller or mouse. I have to say I haven't tried a controller yet because I've been using the mouse and keyboard perfectly fine.
Can you change?
And you'll notice.
Can you change the controls though?
No,
you can't.
No.
Or in the full version.
If
you can't, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. Got Modern Dream.
I have to say I don't know anything about the full version.
The lefties are going to be mad
changing
at you.
controls. The lefties may revolt. You can toggle a mini-map on and off, delete a saved game, and then there's also Facebook, Twitter, and helicopters.com, which is the game's site. So, in this version at the moment, we have got 8 levels. It's got 9 here, actually. But in the final version, we believe that there's going to be about 20. But again, this is early access. And you know what? We're going to go into the warehouse, because this is the latest level I'm on. And before you start any mission, you get to pick 2 cops. And I've been playing with Murphy because I've upgraded her. And also Katsu.
Like the curry.
You can go into each of them. Like the curry. You can go into each of them. And I'm going to confirm that we're going to use this assault rifle. But you get XP from every single level you complete. And then you can use it to upgrade the stat, speed, health, damage, and clip size. For each of the characters, and also you can change the weapons. So, I just cancelled that, didn't I? What am I doing, Matt? What am I doing? I want that weapon.
You tell me. You're the one playing.
So, there is other guys, and you can see sort of their abilities, but these 2 were I picked them for their actual damage. Because I think that's probably one of the best attributes.
Do the characters have... Does each cop have their own kind of separate thing? Like, in terms of skills, and are they unique in any way? Or are they all kind of the same stock character?
They're pretty much all the same kind of stock character, but they start with different base skills. So, like, some of them have higher skills in one level and higher than the other. But before each level, you kind of get this little cutscene.
They'll know it was you. Joe, this may come as a shock to you, but I'm counting on it. You and your kind need to.
I'm just gonna skip that.
He did sound like Christopher Walken there. It was like, your kind.
But so there does seem to be a bit of a story behind this, and I mean, they're only a short little clip in each thing, and then you get a bit of your sort of mission brief. So we've had a tip off from our street informer, Johnny the Cat, that the warehouse is owned by the Hawaiian gang is in possession of narcotics. Unfortunately, they've also captured Johnny the Cat, clear the warehouse and rescue him before they take him out. So you've also got like 3 difficulties: normal, hardcore, nightmare.
Have you tried playing normal on the other 2 ones yet, or are you just stuck to normal?
Oh yeah, I've completed a couple of levels on hardcore. I haven't tried Nightmare yet, but to be honest, I'm finding this level really hard on this difficulty. So, Jesus, we're going to have to kill this guy first of all. So basically what you have is, it's a bit like Hotline Miami in the way it controls. So you've got 2 guys though. So you can see this guy here. Why has it actually changed my people? I don't know why it's done. Oh, because I selected someone else. Oh well. So you can swap between the 2 guys, and you can also set up sort of arcs of fire. So I know there's a guy going to come out of there, so I can set up his arc of fire.
So they will, if you're not controlling them, they
Oh.
will actually. Oh. So if you're not controlling them, they will actually shoot. Yeah, if it's in their range.
Yeah. As you can see, the guy I was controlling this guy, but he got iced.
So you're just going to carry on without him then.
Yeah. So it becomes less of a tactical situation when you lose a guy because you've only got one person. But I actually think this is probably the funnest level out of the lot so far. Simply because it just gives you a lot of different weapons. So there's 4 or 5 different weapons I've seen so far. There's sort of the normal pistol. There's a shotgun, which is actually really bad, I think. It doesn't seem to kill people in one shot, as you'd expect a shotgun to do. Now I understand that they've got sort of the upgrade of like power in all of the different weapons. However, if I'm going to see if I can kill this guy and get this shotgun, and I'll just show you literally how bad this shotgun is. Okay, so we're quite close here, and we're out of ammo.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
However, I just want to show you the same thing with the shotgun going up against someone with a shotgun. So let's get this guy. That's a grenade launcher, I think, which is actually quite a fun weapon.
No, okay. God. So that was extreme. Wow. So I'm trying to think of the words to say. I've so shocked. So in terms of the design of the game, like the graphics, one thing I immediately noticed when you had that cutscene at the beginning, the characters don't actually have mouths, do they? Unless I didn't see that correctly.
No, it looks like they've gone for a very sort of basic graphic style. Like, I mean, it's obviously got its own stylization. I wasn't meant to kill that guy that time. But no, they don't have mouths. But I mean, I don't particularly find that that's too much of an issue.
Yeah. What about
there is like
the sort of the design of the game in general? Is it sort of something you like, or is there any kind of things that put you off?
And with regards to the graphics, I don't mind them actually. There is like a few rough edges still on it. Like the police badges, just they're really fuzzy and out of focus, which is a bit like strange compared to like doesn't look like the highest level of graphics that I've seen, because they've obviously gone for this sort of stylization. So it's a bit strange how they've got a really low res sort of cop badge. But I think the weird thing about it is it's got a few little weird touches, like the doors, for example. You probably saw that one. I'm going to find another door. They explode really easily. I'm not quite sure what they're made of.
So can you not open the doors like in Hotline Miami, where you kind of push the door open to hit people and it knocks them out, or is that not something you can?
Oh,
really
you can do that. So if I walk into it slowly, it sort of knocks it open.
Right, yeah,
but if I run into it, it breaks. Which is, interesting. I always forget the fact that you have a second person. See, I'm obviously not very good at this whole tactic thing.
Well, the way I treat it is if it was Hotline Miami, like I'd just be one guy running through like you have been doing, because I wouldn't think to switch between the two. That is a good point, actually. Is it quite awkward to switch between the two characters, or is it quite a fluid mechanism?
No, it's quite easy to actually switch between the two. Obviously, I'm dying quite a fair amount here because it is just a difficult game. So you can literally switch between the two by hitting R, and if I want, I can actually click third mouse button, and you can move the other player or the other character. So say right, cover there, so you can do that until move in and. Why did for some reason he didn't move there?
I do hope that the actual, in terms of the controls, because we did play this last year at EGX, and I think you had a go and Steve had a go, and then I had a go for a short period of time, but I kind of gave up because I couldn't change the controls, and being left-handed, it's so hard to try and go against, do a movement with the other hand, and so it's a real mess. So if you can't change it, I can see this being really kind of frustrating for anybody who's left-handed. Or I would suggest they use a controller probably, because I just remember from EGX the game being so awkward to control if you don't like the key bindings that are pre-set up.
Yeah, I mean, I have just checked. You can use the arrow keys to move the character around. So they have obviously thought of that. But it would, again, like we always say, it's really nice to be able to have rebindable keys.
Especially in 2015. I feel like it's pretty much a must now to be able to change that up. Because it's a small thing,
yeah,
but it goes a long way, you know.
Yeah. Well, what you can also do is actually zoom out the camera, and you've probably seen me do it, but rotate. And it's actually quite nice to be able to rotate everything around instead of it being stuck in sort of just one view. Because it's you definitely do need to rotate to get like all of the enemies and actually see where they are. Although they do have sort of the arrows above their head to sort of point you towards them. They like if it's I'm out of ammo. You can miss them sometimes.
So you've got these. Obviously, you can switch between the two characters. But is there any kind of local co-op or online co-op that you can do where one of you controls one of the cops and one of you controls the other, or is it just like a purely single-player experience?
No, it's purely a single-player experience. Yeah, it's just you can. It would be actually nice if they could do a multiplayer experience. Like one person controls one guy and the other person controls the other.
I don't know how easy, if that would make the levels incredibly easy, or if you'd have to have separate levels for co-op because of that, or but it's just a nice thing to think about, where you've got two cops having to work together. Sounds like it'd be quite a fun thing to do with your friends, really, even if it was just local.
I think it would be nice to have that option. Oh god, I don't want to get a shotgun because they're really bad. Okay. Oh, I've got a grenade
I do want to
launcher,
say to anybody who is watching this right now, it is important, and we obviously do as well, have to take into account that this version of the game is an early access, as you mentioned at the beginning, Andy. It's an early access version of the game, and the full version isn't actually out yet. So some of the minor kind of balancing issues with weapons or graphical kind of problems could be addressed when it's released on Friday.
Yeah.
So that is something to sort of take into consideration, I guess.
I'm just going to go into another level just to show you something else. The warehouse is the only one that I've actually seen the grenade launcher in. Let's go into the skyscraper. Let's get
try and pick your correct characters this time.
Yeah. So what I have found though, that in fact here's another thing. You might actually be able to see the badge on like her belt. It's really blurry, which is a bit weird. Let's just skip this. It is quite nice some of the stuff that they come out with, sort of the 70s style.
Yeah, I was thinking if this wasn't set in 70s, you probably couldn't get away with jokes like that. But it is sort of in the settings. It probably is quite realistic to the 70s sort of timeline.
And there is a sort of going after donuts and everything, and there's a fat controller guy that's chewing someone out, which is quite funny. You can also actually arrest people, so if I go up to them and just right click, you can arrest them and it takes them out, which is actually quite cool. So if you do run out of ammo,
so
like
you could literally just go around and not kill anyone, and if you were good enough you could.
You can, but it's incredibly hard to do so. Now the one thing that I really don't like about it is I'm like quite close to this guy here, and if I say that now, he's walked off, but the reaction of people can be a bit derpy sometimes. So if I'm here, if I shoot now, you'd expect all of these guys to sort of come out.
Oh, I see what you mean. That guy ran over, but those two,
that guy over there,
those two in that room are still just oblivious to it. Like, if, for example, Hotline Miami, if you shoot a bullet anywhere in a certain radius, like everyone will flood out of. It doesn't matter what room they're in; they'll all come running out, and like the fact that you just you killed 2 people outside their door, a door that you can break, mind you, by walking through it. The sound must travel realistically, you think, and they should hear that. But yeah.
So that is the one thing that I have. Like, it seems very inconsistent, like where people can hear you from, and like others can hear you from like miles away, and some people just don't hear you at all.
Yeah, I mean, does it affect? Does it affect like the difficulty? Like make it too easy or unpredictable, like, or frustrating?
I'm going in.
I think it makes it slightly easier, which is kind of nice, but in some areas it is a bit frustrating when you fire and you're expecting like one person to act one way, but they act in a completely other way.
I'm going in.
So like some of the levels have got multiple stories. So this one is like in Hotline Miami, you had like multiple levels. Like, so you go into one section and it goes into the next. So the same with this. In fact, let's use other guy a bit tactically.
So you can actually tell your other cop without controlling, hey, go over here, move over to that position. You don't have to actually...
Yeah, so you can use them as a bit of cover. I mean, they do die more easily, and like the AI isn't that great on them some of the time. Like, they are a bit slow to react. Oh, I accidentally switched out there. That worked in my favour. And you notice there that was one shot of the shotgun to him, to my character, to kill them.
Yeah, so it's really powerful for the AI, but for you, it's suddenly, as soon as you pick up the shotgun, it's like, I'm firing rubber bullets.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But it's nothing, you wouldn't say it's game-breaking in any sense, it's just more something that could easily be tweaked.
Yeah, it's more frustrating at this point. It's like, why can the AI have such a powerful weapon, whereas if I try and use it, it's just nothing. It's just shocking. You can also like lock on, as you can see, I'm like locking onto all the different characters, or the enemies. I want to get a pistol, and then you can quite easily swap out just by hitting space for a different weapon. So let's set this guy up here.
So can you hold multiple weapons, or can you only hold one at a time?
You can only hold one at a time, which can be a bit frustrating if you run out of ammo and they're just running at you like that.
Yeah.
I'm going in.
But I mean, let's see if I can get this guy. I should be able to get this guy and just arrest him.
Oh
no,
maybe not.
But like maybe in the stuff that's the stuff that's more closed in, you can actually just go around and just arrest a load of people, which is actually really cool that they have actually got the other aspect of being able to play the game like, hey, you don't have to go around and kill people. Oh my god, this is not going to end well.
I'd say another game that kind of...
For the bad guys.
The way that I think about it is LA Cops. Battlefield Hardline's another game which is going for that, cops and robbers sort of feel. And rather than make it you have to try and find ways to make it not just a shooting simulator or just like every other kind of third or first person shooter games. And I think by arresting, that's quite a good feature actually, because I know Hardline's also implementing things like that, and they're about using non-lethal takedowns. I think that's something that is vital for a cop game, is that realistically a cop's not always going to want to go in there guns blazing. A lot of the time they're going to try and avoid violence if they can, because it might just help in that situation or make more sense. So I definitely think that's, props to them for doing that, because it shows that they were actually focusing on making you feel more like a cop and not just a guy running around with a shotgun going death to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see why some people will get really frustrated with this game and why others will like really love it, simply because of the way it is quite hard. And if you can actually use your partner well, it's without them dying, it can actually be used like it adds that sort of extra level that Hotline Miami doesn't quite have. I mean, I keep on bringing that up because I feel like that's the closest game to this.
Oh yeah, definitely, with the whole sort of Twitch controls and going through each room from one bit. But how do like in terms of having? Yeah, do you think
I'm going in.
do you think the game would be just as good if it had one player? If you just had one.
I think
cop,
it would
for example.
definitely lose. I think it would definitely lose some of its charm. The other thing is the menus are when you go into like the quit and everything, you can't see the mouse cursor, which is really annoying. Let's go on to one of the early ones. Now there are some things like that don't really work for sort of a cop theme. Let's skip this. Like for example, I believe it's this level where you have to go around getting like drugs.
I'm going in.
Or maybe it's not this one. But there's this one level where you need to go around like, and it says, oh, you need to collect or destroy the drugs. It's like, well, hang on a second. If you're a cop, you'd be going and collecting evidence. You wouldn't go around destroying all of the drugs.
You just get a machine gun and shooting like loads of cocaine, going death to drugs.
Oh,
yeah, no,
shoot.
you wouldn't. Oh, that was nice. That was nicely done.
So, yeah.
Handled that well, Andy.
like-
See?
So sometimes they don't react quick enough for some reason, and you can actually just get in and arrest them, which is, it actually works out in your favour some of the time, which is quite cool. Right, I think that's the last guy. Nope, no, there's another guy up there. There we go. So yeah, I just want to try and show you this thing if we can, and then we'll probably end the video there, I reckon.
Yeah, I just want to say
Unless you
while
had
you
any
try
more-
and. Yeah, I was going to say whilst you get to that, just in general, so people kind of get an idea overall. How, from what you have played of this game so far, how have you found the game? Have you enjoyed it for the most part? Is it something that you recommend people should check out, or is it something people should avoid and not even touch with a barge pole? Like, what's your general sort of summary of it all from what you've done and tried out?
I'd say I didn't really enjoy it that much until some of the later levels, and until I sort of tried actually using the mechanics as they were meant to be sort of played, with using the other guy to try and reinforce you.
I'm going in.
And so I mean, if you kind of like Hotline Miami, that guy's just going to come straight in here. Busted! If you kind of like Hotline Miami and that type of game, it's definitely worth checking out. I think, but just beware of those little bugs, and if they haven't patched them out. I mean, what we might try and do is actually, when it gets released, is just do an update in like the comments or something, just to see if it's actually been patched out in their last update.
So would you say your biggest kind of setback is the way it introduced some of those mechanics that you've sort of shown off and that you've sort of demonstrated? Does it not do a very good job then of teaching you how to use them effectively and when to use them?
The tutorial does a perfectly good job.
Okay.
It sort of takes you through and says, oh, you need to switch this character and use them to do this and etc. But it's just the fact that it's so easy to forget that you can do it in the game. Unless you actually just think, oh, hang on, we need to actually move the person in. Hang on, this guy's just going to dive through the door. So you can see, it's still...
One thing I did sort of just constructive criticism, an observation that I sort of made. I could be wrong, but when you died, it showed a little hint saying, oh, you can arrest people with this. Now, if it doesn't already do this, it would be good if that could alternate, like you said about reminding you that you can use them. If it just alternate every time you die and it just gives you a different hint, or not a hint, but like a different tip of like, hey, you could do this. Hey, why not try this in this situation? Or, it seemed like every time you've died, you've got the same reminder about arresting people, which I think you would already kind of know after the first few times of being told that on the screen.
Yeah, I have to say I haven't actually paid much attention to
It was just from as an outside perspective. I was like, as I was waiting for you to go back in, I was like, hang on, that's had the same message. So if you click retry now, oh no, okay, so it has changed slightly, but I've only seen two different hints really. That might just be me, but so yeah. But overall, you have kind of enjoyed this after playing it for a bit. You thought it was actually quite a lot of fun, is what you'd say?
Yeah, I think like the latter level, like level 8 where I got to, that was actually quite fun. Where you had this sort of different weapons like the grenade launcher and the barrels that you could blow up. But I found some of the early ones just it didn't grab my attention as much. But I mean, I don't think I'm as much of one for sort of this type of game where you have to keep on going on and on and on through it and just failing. Like there is a lot of fail state in this game, which, like I said before, some people might not like. But at least with the second person, you do almost get like a second life.
Yeah, because I remember that in Hotline Miami, it would just be, you'd get so close to the end of the level, and as everyone knows, that's quite an unforgiving game. You'd just mess up and you'd go straight back to the beginning of that particular stage, and it's like, if only I got one other chance to redeem myself.
So I mean, it is slightly more forgiving than that, and when you do get into the next section, if you have lost one of your cops, it does like regen them and let you have them back. But this has been LA Cops, and like we were saying, it's released on Friday the 13th of March, and it's available on Steam for £8.99 or whatever your regional equivalent is. So thanks very much for joining me, Matt. When you leave, if you hand your badge and your gun in and leave them on the table, and we won't say any more about this atrocity that you just made here.
And I have the right to an attorney.
You have the right to remain silent as well. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.